Hey students, in this lesson we're going to continue to learn how to play the Pirc Defense as the black pieces. I'm assuming that if you're here it's because you already went over lesson number 69 where we covered the classical variation. So I'm assuming that you liked it and you want to learn more about it. Now we're going to be covering how to play against the 150 attack. This is one of the most aggressive attacks against the Pirc Defense. Many people just find it challenging to play against this setup, but like I said in that other lesson, I really like it when people play it because I know exactly what to do. Typically, people who play this as the white pieces are players who are looking for a sharp game. They're trying to castle to the opposite side, put the bishop on h6, create a pawn storm, and get to your king. And this is exactly what happened to me at the beginning of my career. I would just get to this position, I would do what I would normally do, and I would get destroyed in every game. I lost many important games just because I didn't know what to do. And to be honest, I almost stopped playing the Pirc Defense because I didn't know how to play against this variation until I found an antidote, or at least a variation that I feel comfortable with. And that's exactly what I'm going to share with you guys. So let me just put everything back and let's start from the very beginning. So e4, d6, d4, knight f6, knight c3, g6, and now it is very important. So we're going to start talking about the main ideas, and to be honest, that's what you're going to get from these lessons, the main ideas. I don't want you to memorize move by move. I need you to understand the essence, why we do what we do. So first things first, whenever you see bishop e3, this is an indication that they want to play, forget about the 150 attack, they just want to play aggressive. So in my head, whenever I see someone playing knight f3, this is classical. In my head, I think of it like a quiet setup. If I see someone developing the queen side first, I just know that they want to castle to the opposite side and attack me. So bishop e3, f3 is another move that to me is an aggressive move. They want to help the pawn to get to g4 and so on. So first idea, whenever you see bishop e3 or you see pawn to f3, they might want to do something aggressive. So you're going to use what I'm going to tell you. And another idea about this, when I first learned how to play these guys, I was told that the white pieces wanted to do f3 first, because if not, they would allow the black pieces to do knight g4. Now, that might be true, but to me, in my experience, this move it never gets me anything good. It's true that they have to move the bishop again, and maybe you could continue, but then my knight is so weird on g4, I just don't get anything out of it. I myself, maybe you find someone else who finds this move amazing and they know exactly what to do. To me, I just ignore it when they don't do f3. So that's the first thing. Bishop e3, pawn to f3, we treat it the same way. Don't deviate because we're just looking for consistency. And what I'm going to teach you, the ideas that you're going to learn, you need to remember them every time. So when you do knight g4, maybe it's hard for you to execute the ideas that we're going to learn. So with that said, let's assume they do bishop e3. Now, if you go back to what I said before, my opponent, whoever is playing with the white pieces, they want to do bishop a6, they just want to castle to the opposite side, they want to get to my king. So that's their plan. And like we said in lesson number 69, many people, they just don't really study the Pirc defense. They just know they're going to do this and that's it. They don't know the tricks and anything else. We're going to know that. So what I'm trying to say is, whenever I see people doing this or doing f3, I'm just going to stop everything on the king side. This is the antidote. If you just castle, if you continue with your plan and you put the king here, they have a plan. They have a plan that makes sense. If you don't castle to the king side, these attacks that they're doing, the only thing that they're relying on is pointless. What are they attacking if they do that pawn storm, if my king doesn't go there? And that's exactly what we're going to do. So what do I do instead? Well, this pawn is what we call, you should know it at this point in the course, this pawn is what we call a leverage pawn. It's going to help this pawn get to g4. Well, I'm going to create my own leverage pawn on the side that they're planning to castle, the queen side. So my response to f3 or bishop e3 or anything that I might consider aggressive is c6. Remember that I told you this move is going to be present in your Pirc King's Indian defense. It is a very dynamic and very flexible move. So I'm going to do c6, getting ready to do the same thing. Look, leverage pawn to do g4, leverage pawn to do b5. So if they continue bishop e3, remember, I'm not even doing this, so I'm just going to go pawn to b5. So I'm telling them now, okay, if you continue with your attack, I'm already getting ready to attack you when you castle to the queen side. So it's not going to be so easy for you. And at the beginning of my career, guys, when I first started to do this, I was just hoping that they would get the signal and abort whatever they were trying to do. I just wanted them to castle to the same side or to the king side, and we'll play a quiet game. But now I really welcome them to continue to push for that attack. So after b5, when they go queen to d2, my turn again. And moments like this is the reason why I told you before that this is what works for me. I'm not saying that this is the ultimate best. I'm just telling you what I like, and it's up to you if you use it or not, or if you continue to investigate and find something better. If you want to look deeper into these variations, if you want to look deeper into the Pirc, in the description you're going to find a link with books about the Pirc. So why am I saying this? Well, here many people are just going to suggest to just do a5. And it makes sense. This is a pawn storm. Now, to me, the move that I do, and it works for me, is queen a5. Now, this is a move that many people might not like it. Maybe if you put it on the engine is going to say it's a bad move. To me, it just works fine. First, psychologically, I'm putting a lot of pressure on my opponent. Like, he sees the queen here, the pawn on b4. Notice that something like castling now could be a little bit difficult since I have pawn to b4. The knight has to move, and I take on a2. So I don't know if I'm going to follow through and do this or not, but the presence of this threat psychologically is already affecting my opponent. The other reason is that I'm going to show you two plans here, one that I do and one that I used to do it but not anymore because I'm looking for something a little bit more aggressive, and it's going to make more sense later. But basically, ultimately, I want to castle to this side. If things get too ugly in the center, I'm not going here, I'm going to go to the queen side. So moving my queen is already helping me with that. Anyways, let me go back here, just a few moves. So I'm playing my Pirc, they do knight c3, pawn to g6. I see the indication that they want to do the 150 attack or something aggressive, f3 or bishop e3, even something like bishop f4. I just know they're developing the queen side first. So f3, c6, then bishop e3. Remember, I'm not doing this any longer. I want to accelerate on the queen side. Queen d2, and now queen a5. This is what I do. So after this, castling, most people are not going to do it. We know why. And not only because of that, sometimes I don't even do b4 if they castle to the queen side. But let's keep on going here. Let's say that they do g4. This is what most people do. This is their plan. Now guys, like I said before, this is pointless. What are they attacking? There's no king over here. Now what you're going to see next is a maneuver that I really like, and it's gotten me very nice games. And you're going to let me know after, guys, what you think. So my next setup, look, my pawn is on c6, b5. Once I put the queen on a5, there's only one more plan that you need to know. I'm going to bring this knight to d7, b6, c4. So that's it. So first is set up aggressively on the queen side. Then my knight is going to give me the final blow that I need, which you could do completely like I'm going to show you, or you could do something else that is a little bit quieter. So knight b to d7 goes regardless. Let's say they go h4. And then here, at this moment, you could continue with what I'm going to show you, or if you try what I'm going to show you, or you just don't feel like that's right, you could do this. Bishop e7. Let's say they go something like, I don't know, knight g to e2, or bishop d3, anything. The point is that you're going to castle here, and you are away from these crazy attacks. Because I'm pretty sure that if you have been playing against the 150 attacks so far, you're getting in trouble because you're castling here. They just have everything set up to get you in trouble there. So what I used to do at the very beginning was just castle to the queen side. So let's say something like, I don't know, knight g to e2, and I just castled here. A little bit exposed, but hey, he's not castling here now that this is exposed. If he castles to the same side, hard for them to create something. So let's say something like the, you know what, let's say something like a3. So king b8, just to be a little bit safer, and just play chess. Do e5. Now you could do bishop g7 and just play chess. So this is just an idea. Now, what I do instead, and you're going to hate this, guys, but I'm going to put everything back. Again, this kind of repetition helps you remember the whole thing. So d4, knight f6, knight c3, g6, and then f3. Oh, this is not the classical variation. I need to get ready for it. c6. If instead I did bishop e3, same thing. It's just an aggressive setup. So f3, b5, queen d2, queen a5. Castling, they run into b4, or the plan that I'm going to show you. If they do g4, remember, setup done. Now my knight is going to do the next part. So knight b to d7. Let's see h4. By the way, guys, if they did something like bishop h6, I do not care about the king side. So I'm happy to trade here. And now this queen is just completely out of the game. They think I'm going to castle here. I'm not even going to try that. And not only that, I could even do b4. When the knight moves, I could do something like b3, discovered a check, and so on. So I'm just showing you this for you to understand that typically when they do this, you don't want to take on h6. That way the queen doesn't get onto that uncomfortable square. But here, I'm not planning to go there with the king. So whenever they do it, I'm going to take. And you're going to see this in the game I'm going to show you at the end. So going back, here we have the setup. My knight is coming over here, h4. If you decide to play it quieter, just bishop b7 and get ready to castle whenever you feel like it. What I do is knight b6. Let's say they go something like h5. So this is as aggressive as they could go. Now I'm going to do knight c4. So let's talk about this move. The idea of this move is I want to get rid of their best bishop. This is the bishop they're going to use to remove my bishop. And I know what you might be thinking. Hey, they could just take it. Not only can they take it, they're going to take it with a bishop that has not even developed. They're taking a knight that I spent 3 important moves to get to c4. And on top of it all, they're getting me double tap pawns. So how could this be a good plan? Well, this is what I like about it. Once I take on c4, it is true that I get double tap pawns, but we have learned many lessons ago that whenever you get double tap pawns, you also get semi-open files. So it is very common for them to just castle here now that I cannot do before, and following this move, b to c4, unless they're attacking something, unless it doesn't make any sense, my rook goes to the b file. Now from here, guys, I already gave up on castling to this side. I already gave up on castling on this side. So I need to capitalize on putting pressure on that king. So this is why I said maybe some of you just don't like this either. You want to do what I said before. Now, they could castle here, or you might be thinking, why is he going to castle there if there's a semi-open file? Fine. They could do something like knight h3. Let's say they go here. Take. Of course, I have to take with the f pawn. Remember, I don't care about this part. Let's say they go bishop h6. Okay, I don't care about this bishop. So they take. They're happy with this expansion here. Oh, my king is not there. And now I'm going to do my rook b8. So I'm putting pressure on b2. What would you do if you were the white pieces? You have 2 options basically. Either you castle here, and I'm going to put pressure on it, or you could do rook b1, which many of my opponents do. Now guys, at this moment, there is a very nice trick that I've done so many times. So I want you to pause the video and see if you can figure it out. Black to move, there's a very quick, nice combination here. Well, if you paused the video and you found it, congrats. The move here is rook takes b2. So I'm using that semi-open file that this pawn gave me. And now if they take, I pick up a free knight and I get the rook right back. So I'm already winning material. If they don't, well, if they don't take, I'm going to win material anyway. So this is one of the tricks that you have to know if you play this variation. Sometimes this knight is already developed. Let's say the knight was on h3. You could also think of ideas like taking on c3 directly. When they take, you take on b1, you take on h1, and you get a very nice position there. So this is one of the tricks, guys. Like I said before, you don't have to go this far. If you don't like it, fine. If you play it 5 times and you just don't happen to make it work, fine. You have the other one to rely upon. So let me go back now, and let's say that they just castled. Well, I'm just going to put pressure on it. So I could do queen b4, putting a lot of pressure on b2. If they push the pawn, not only am I going to get closer to that king, but the knight is falling. And I think you could even try moves like rook b2 followed by queen b4. Now, guys, the point of all of this is not the tactic. The point of all of this is for you to understand that the white pieces don't have it easy here. My king is in the center. It might be a little bit alarming to you, but it doesn't feel that comfortable with the white pieces either. So guys, it's time for us to do the same thing, go all over again. So e4, d6, d4, knight f6, knight c3, g6, bishop e3 or f3, doesn't matter to me. I'm doing c6, Then b5, I'm telling them to not castle to the queen side. I'm getting ready for it. Then queen a5. Feel free to try a5. Remember, maybe you like this better than queen a5. Your choice. If they castle, fine. Let's say they do instead bishop d3. So many times people do this. The white pieces, they really get the message. So they're leaving this open for them to castle there. So I'm going to do my thing. Knight g2, e2. I'm going to do my thing. And now here they could castle to this side or castle to the other side. If they castle to the queen side, guys, again, I'm going for it and I'm putting pressure on the queen side. Like I said before, I keep repeating it, sorry if I'm being too annoying, but you could also leave it like this, just bishop b7, and also leave the option open to go to either side. And as a matter of fact, this is something else that you have to know. If you just want to do bishop g7, at this point, that this is looking like he's not being that aggressive, it looks like he's getting the message. And if he castles now, well, I'm happy to castle to the same side, guys. I just don't want to castle here if he hasn't committed to this. And we talked about this in lesson, I want to say, well, in the lesson where we were talking about opposite side castling attack. You just don't want to castle when they have everything set up if they haven't committed to the same side. So here I could continue with this. I have a very nice position with space on the queen side. e5 still a possibility. This is already move number 9, so the opening is pretty much over. Now, as you learn more about the Pirc, you can just continue with this position. But again, this lesson is to actually give you ideas against the aggressive plan on when they attack us on the king side. So now that you have those ideas, I'm going to show you guys a game and we're going to try to put everything together. And more than that, this game is going to help us understand the importance of just knowing the main idea. Now, I said before that maybe you don't like this because this is a game that I'm going to show you, but I'm playing as the white pieces. And it doesn't mean that I'm doing the 150 attack myself. I'm just playing the Pirc. And someone is doing the same setup, but I'm just using my Pirc. The same ideas of the Pirc, the same setup, I'm using it as the white pieces. So in this game, I started with the move knight to f3, and this is another thing. For anyone, they think I'm playing the ready. So I do that f3, they went knight c6, I went g3, d5. So for them, I'm a player who's doing the ready opening. But in reality, I'm just going to go back to my Pirc, but I'm doing it with colors reversed. Now, this has another benefit. First, my opponent has no clue what I'm trying to do. Second, I'm playing the Pirc with an extra move because I go first as the white pieces. So look at what happened here. After pawn to d5, bishop g2, e5, they're ready to attack me. Well, I'm going to do d3. Now, nothing wrong if you started this game, guys, with these three first. You could do the same thing as in the Pirc with the white pieces. So bishop e6, look, if they had done knight f6, this is more like the classical. So I'm at ease, this is going to be a quiet game, maybe. But they did bishop e6, developing the queen side first. So I'm already alert. If they had done something like f6, well, I recognize this pattern too. And this could be challenging for you guys to recognize it with colors reversed. But if you practice it enough, it's just going to become second nature. So in the game they went bishop e6. What did we learn that we have to do automatically? Let's see if we can figure it out. Pause the video right now and tell me the move that you think I did here using the ideas that we just learned. Well, I know when they try to do the aggressive attack, I'm going to use my leverage pawn, c3. This is automatic. And this is what I meant before, guys. You need to understand the different things the opponent could do and know the reply or the plan that you have to use. So I did c3. They went queen d7, look, same setup. Then b4, I'm warning them. Are you sure you want to do that? Because I'm getting ready to expand on the queen side. So f6, look, same thing. It's just that I'm one tempo ahead. So queen a4, this is where I said that some people like to do a4. I just like my queen on a4. Knight g2, e7. Now, I have my setup, and I'm going to bring my knight to b2. I'm sorry, d2, b3, c5. So knight b to d2, bishop h3. Now, what did we say here? If they come to h3, do we trade the bishop or not? Well, remember, I have no intention to castle there, so give me that bishop. Queen h3, this queen, rather than putting pressure on my king, is just getting out of the game. So after they did this, guys, you could continue with the same plan. You could do anything you like. This is move number 9. Now, what I did here, I went for b5, so knight b8, and then I went b6. Now, is this the best way to continue? I don't know. It just made sense to me. So after b6, they blocked with the knight. I took on c7, rook c8, just trying to take care of that pawn. And now, look, this is already move number 12. Just play chess. So I have to develop my bishop. Look at this diagonal. Very nice diagonal. I'm very happy that they haven't castled, and they're not going to castle anytime soon. So after bishop a3, they finally took the pawn. And now, look, the semi-open file, remember? I didn't get it by taking on c5, but I got it. So I'm going to go rook b1, and I'm already thinking of tactics. So if this knight wasn't here, I could do rook takes, queen c6. You see, the same ideas that I know from the Pirc, I'm using it as the white pieces. So after knight c8, which is what they did, I went bishop f8. This is to guarantee me that they're never going to castle. So if you think my king is a little bit weird in the center, well, he's not alone. So after they took with the king, I just went pawn to c4, trying to open up the position, trying to get to that king, because again, my queen, I think, is a little bit better than this one to attack. So, oh, and by the way, guys, here, just like in the Pirc, when this queen is here, if they try to go to g2, you have this move. That's it. The knight is protecting here, the knight is protecting here, and the queen has to go back. They just wasted a move. So I just wanted to clarify that. So in this game, instead of doing that, they just went knight to b6, attacking my queen. And now look, I want to get away from this attack by winning a tempo. So where can I put my queen so that I attack that king? So check, they move the king. Now c takes d5, knight takes d5. My queen goes to b3. I like this pin. I like that I'm putting pressure on b7. So the queen finally comes back to help. And now finally, look, I'm going to castle. So why am I castling? Before I castled, I asked myself, is it safe? Is he on to me on this side? Notice that he never pushed the pawns. He doesn't have enough pieces to get me in trouble here. And more importantly, his king is not that safe. So he's not going to have the freedom to just go and attack me. So I felt like it was safe now. I feel safer than their king is. So I just went ahead and castled. So rook d8. Now my knight is coming to e4. Look at this nice square that I'm looking at. And after b6, I did a very quick tactic, guys, that my opponent had to resign. So take the time here, pause the video, see if you can find the right continuation. Well, the move here was, and it doesn't matter which knight you use, but I used knight g5. Fork. I'm getting that queen. If the pawn takes, I just take back and I got the queen. So guys, this is probably not a very nice game. Sorry if it confused you, because it's a game that I played with the white pieces. But I really, the whole point of me showing you the game is to consolidate everything, but also for you to understand that if you learn the ideas of the Pirc, that's all you need. You could use them in so many ways. It's so flexible, and your opponents will almost never know what you're trying to do. So it feels nice to just be playing someone, and at the end of the game, when you finish, they're going to ask you, okay, what opening did we play? Because many people, they just don't know exactly what you're doing. So look at this with the white pieces. Where have you seen this before? So again, I hope this makes sense to you. If it doesn't, like always, let me know in the comments. So with that said, I will see you guys next time.